Okay, so hi everyone. So I'm just recording this video here. I do have a short up on YouTube for Sweet Home Alabama, but I thought I would get into a bit more detail. It's not often I do a longer video, but I really wanted to kind of do a longer one here just to get into a bit more detail on the way I teach the intro to beginners. And when they're starting to really get somewhere, this is a really common song everybody wants to learn. So first off, when you're looking at the chords to start with, well, first off, when you're looking at a tab like this, if the chords aren't at the top, it can be really confusing. You kind of think, what is going on here? Now, in this case, these notes here are all the music notes, but we don't really need to worry about that right away at the start when you're trying to get it down. So it's not immediately obvious that you've got chords here. If you were to just follow that with them not being typed up here. Now this is actually a PDF that was taken straight out of one of my lessons recently. So what I've done here is kind of take the song and mark on a few things for that student at the time, just to make it easier for them. So you can see here that the chords are wrote out, they're sort of typed in as a quick way of doing it. Rather than using the chord boxes. You don't actually need a 4-finger G, and you don't need a full C-add 9 for the verse part of it. If I could get that all on one screen, just about there. Yep. So let's make it a tiny bit smaller. I hope that's still readable. I'll make it a bit bigger. Right. So if you're stuck playing a 4-finger G and the C-add 9 and even D, we can strip this back to your G like that. So string 5 fret 2, string 6 fret 3, string 2 fret 3, because we're actually only picking down to the B string. We're not going down as far as string 1. C-add 9 then, we can just bring your finger 2 fingers down here, and that makes the C-add 9. This doesn't go anywhere. And then when you're making your D, come down here. Now obviously when you get into the rhythm and then the other parts of it, if you're strumming later on or doing more stuff, you do need the full chords, but you don't need the full ones right now if you want to get started on it. So basically with D, you could take that out, C-add 9, take that out, and the G4, take that out. But do practice adding those in later on. So we start with a D chord. So we're picking string 4. Now, I'm going to go through the notes first, and then the pick direction makes a big difference in this. Downs and ups are really important. To be able to get downs and ups in makes a big difference. So you can see here I've axed out a few things. That's where we just took some things out of it to make it easier to play. So we're making a D chord or an easy D, D sus2. So we're picking 4, 4. What's your strings? Down, down, up, up, up. Alright, so there's the notes. Down string 4 twice, up 2, 3, 4. Now this part here, this 3, 0, 3 isn't actually part of the C-add 9 chord yet. That's just playing that finger, that note, and then lifting it off on again. So you've got, but I'm still trying to keep this in place so you don't have to add it back in. So you're always trying to think ahead when you're doing chords and stuff. So and then all downs there. There's where the 2 comes in, right? So C-add 9. So we're going D. You could make a C-add 9 now, then hit your 3, open 3. So that's the string, the fret numbers. 3rd fret open, hitting the 5th string here. Then come up 2, 3, 4 with your C-add 9 chord held down. And then move that up to the G and bounce on string 6. Now, if you're not sure about reading tabs, there's 2 main things that come up in tabs. You're either picking single notes one at a time, or you're strumming maybe 2 notes even. And in this case, we are coming upwards. So remember, you're here and the ground's down here, so we're coming up the way. So we've got, so we're bouncing on string 6 and up 2, 3, 4. Alright, so that's your riff. So back through again, we've got the D. Make your C-add 9. if you haven't played riffs before or done hammer-ons and pull-offs, this is going to look really confusing. So the H represents a hammer-on. So a hammer-on in this case is where we have string 5 and you hammer your finger down really heavy and it releases the second note, but it's only one pick stroke. Alright, so in the case of this, we're hammering on and then we're just picking the string. And this is the reverse of that. This is a pull-off. So you're playing string 3 and coming away. So I'm sort of springing off the string. So the riff is going, so you basically have your picking on D, pick C odd 9, pick your G, and then when it comes to the riff, and then down. So as regards to the amount of pick strokes you use one on the 5th string, one on the 4th, then hit it again, open, pick string 5 on fret 2, go down to string 3 and pull off, and we spring off the string. Be careful not to hit that string on the way off here, because then that'll ring. And that's your first riff. So the intro's made up of picking on the D, picking on the C odd 9, picking on the G, first riff. This picking here is exactly the same as all that was. So once you got from D to G4 there, or G, calling it G4 because it's 4 fingers by the way. When you come to here, we have a different riff. Now this is actually out of the G major scale. So both of these riffs, this is from G pentatonic major and this is from G major. So I'm going to run through the second section, which is the D again, so you could still have your easier D chord. Alright, then your C odd 9. Now there's a 0 missing here on this. So some people will play it like that, some people will put that in. I'm not totally sure if the 0's in there. Maybe just get a quick listen to it again and see. But and then your 3. We'll just play it as it is on the tab. And then we've got the G, and we're coming up on the chord. 2, 3, 4. Now this riff's completely different. So what's going on here? There's a scale that runs up every string, as well as going that way to run this way. So alright, so that's just your, wherever you play that. But in this case, the strings, or the scale's running up the G string, but we're only using part of it. The other thing is too, obviously this is originally played on electric. So this part here, I just changed it for acoustic because it's quite hard to bend the strings on acoustic, so we'll kind of slide there like that. So if we go through the second section, think of it like 2 parts. This is the second bit. So on the D, I'll just move that out of the road. And then we're on the G, and then we've got the single string riff. Again, pull-offs are happening here, no hammer-ons but pull-offs. So when you've got a higher number going to a lower number, you're pulling away. So all string 3 open, pull off 2 to 0, hit string 3 again, open, move up to fret 4, pull off again, hit string 4 open, and instead of bending it, because it's quite hard to bend, we're going to slide it. So that whole riff is open, string 3, pull off string 3, hit string 3 open, fret 4, and then we're going to hit string 4 open and then slide. So on the slide you hit the note and drag it up to fret 7. Right, so going through the whole thing, think of it in 2 parts. Picking the D, picking the C odd 9, picking the G, riff 1 here. And then when we get to the second section, pick the D, pick the C odd 9, G4, and then pick riff 2. So I'm going to play the whole thing slowly. Good idea to just sort of follow it as I'm doing it. C odd 9, the G, strum up 3 strings at the same time, first riff, start to just the 2 3s this time. Up, 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 and then on the G. Strum up 2 3 4 strings, and then your single string G major riff. Okay, so a couple of things just that aren't marked on there that are, I will give you a few tips is, make sure when you're doing string 2 3 4 that you come up here and up here. It makes a big difference. Don't try and do it all in downs. It makes it very, what would you say, disjointed. So I'm going to play it a bit faster. Alright, so when you start speeding it up, it sounds really good. So, as I say, there was a short I did up a while ago on this, but I wanted to get in a bit more detail. So I hope you find that helpful, and if you have any questions or anything, let me know, and I have a copy of the tab here. If you want to get a copy of that later on, no problem. As I say, this is straight out of somebody else's lesson that I taught there recently. So this is the kind of thing I'm going to be covering in the Beginner's Accelerator program. Not actual songs, but getting into the tips and the techniques and all the things you need to get to the point where you're playing a song like this. So if you're interested in that, if you're in my Get Playing Guitar group, please comment below. If you're not and you're watching this on YouTube, if you could subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. It would really help the channel, and there'll be loads of more lessons like this coming very soon. So I hope you find that helpful, and all the best in the meantime with your playing.